Hey, Endeavor artists. Wow, I miss you. I really miss you. I miss seeing all your faces and hearing all of your voices and seeing your ideas. I'm just saying hey in the hall. I hope you're well. I hope your family is safe and healthy and you're getting some time to kind of settle into a routine at this point. I am going to organize some art lessons for you every week, and those will come through your teacher's lesson plan. So don't forget to click down at the bottom and maybe pick art some days. But you can also pick PE and library and music because we are all coming up with some ideas for you. Now, as far as art projects, I sure do wish I would have sent some supplies home with you, but none of us knew what was happening. So when you're doing some projects at home, use whatever you can. So I probably have more art supplies at my house than most people, but if I'm holding up a piece of white paper and you don't have it, but you have the back of an envelope from the mail, do it, use it. Whatever you've got, use it. And in fact, you might actually be more creative because you don't have your normal supplies. The same thing goes, if I'm using colored pencils, but you don't have any, but you have some old markers, maybe use those too. And if you just have a pencil or a pen, that's fine. If you end up using anything that's not yours, make sure you ask permission. So like in one of the projects I'm pushing out this week, there's some weird project supplies that might come from the refrigerator. So make sure you ask permission before you grab something. And speaking of that, make sure you clean up your mess. So we don't have little table jobs in here at home, or maybe you do. Ooh. Is that something we need to work on? Anyway, there's no pink person, yellow person, green person, blue person. You just need to clean up after yourself, and hopefully you're already doing that. So I'm gonna have fun and teach you just some random things that you can do. If yours doesn't look like mine, good. Yours will probably be better. You've got great ideas. And don't ever think that it has to be exactly what I'm doing. Yours should be yours. If you come up with a different way of doing something, awesome. And speaking of that, if you come up with a different thing, supply, idea, way of doing it, hey, let me know. Email me, or definitely take some pictures, or have someone in your family take pictures and email those. I've got that Endeavor Instagram page, and I've been putting some pictures on there because some of you have already been emailing in some of your projects that you're working on at home. Okay, I think that's enough because I got to get to the directions. I just miss you. Looking at myself right now, and I'd rather be looking at you guys. All right, take care. Okay, let's get started. I have some ideas for you. Get it? Ideas. Anyway, all the projects that I'm going to show you on this splat video have a starting point with these big bug eyes, these circles with pupils in the middle that give lots of personality. So there's several different ways we can do this, and I'll just show you a few, but I bet you'll come up with some other ideas. So on this one, I'm actually going to paint. If you have paints at home, awesome. If you don't, I'll show you some other things soon too. I've got water. These paints I have not used in years, you guys, so I have to prep them. I'm just dropping some water on top of each one, and you know that. You have to activate them first. And then I'm going to start actually now with the marker. Make sure that when you draw your eyes, you're going to use a permanent marker. Anything that doesn't say permanent on it is going to then interact or bleed with your water or your paint or your whatever you're going to use later. So on this one, I'm going to show you a different technique, which is called kind of a wash. And I'm getting the paper wet first with water. Then I'm going to add the paint. So you can see that the paint and the water are kind of interacting with each other. The paint is going to fill up whatever is wet on the paper, and you can push that paint around however you want. So this one's a little controversial. I know that straws, sometimes people are not ready to use straws or don't want to use straws. I've heard that many times. So I've got paper straws actually at my house, but if you've got something else, a metal straw, plastic straw, use whatever you want. I'm going to blow the paint and the water through the straw. So I'm definitely not touching the straw to the paint or the water. I don't want to taste it. That sounds disgusting. I'm blowing it and making it move and getting that kind of fuzzy splat look, which is hilarious, I think. I'm also turning my paper upside down. So I wanted to get all angles. I couldn't just blow from the top of the bird. What are we calling this thing? And then expect it to go down and up. So you have to kind of rotate your way all the way around, kind of like you're thinking about a clock. And then you'll get all of the color to go all the different directions. Now you can see I actually added a little bit of blue in there too. I wanted some mix of colors. I'm just experimenting. These were watercolors. I don't think I mentioned that at the beginning. And I'm now adding some legs and feet and giving it a little bit more personality again. Now, I filmed enough of these videos for you in the past that you'd think that I would clue into the fact that you can't even see my whole paper. Anyway, there's some funny little purple feet at the bottom of this paper. I'll show you later. If you don't have paints at home, don't you worry. I've got some other ideas. What? Ketchup, soy sauce, mustard, hot sauce. Have I lost my mind? No, just trying to get real creative because you might not have paints at home. So in this case, this is one of those circumstances where you need to ask if it's okay if you try something, okay? I did the whole demonstration. You can't see the paper, so here I am starting over. I've got a brand new paper, my tomato ketchup. Oh my gosh, I can't wait. Don't eat it. Don't dip your hot dog in it. Here we go. I'm going to try out the same technique. And I got to tell you guys, I've never done this before. I have never painted with ketchup. So first I drew my eyes on there. Again, permanent marker. And then I tried that same watercolor wash technique. I put the water on the paper first. It didn't work so well. The ketchup got really light. It didn't stay red. In fact, you couldn't even see it on the paper. Even the part where I put extra ketchup at the bottom, sounds like I'm ordering like some fries or something. Anyway, extra ketchup at the bottom, the color shows up a little bit better, but not really strong. The mustard, though, check that out. I'm loving it. Loving that little yellow fuzzy mustard. Now, maybe you don't have a paintbrush at home. Again, ask permission. Perfect time to finger paint. Hey, your art teacher will never know. She's not here with you. She's not watching. So you just dip that finger in there and see if you can't get the same effect with your finger as I did with my brush earlier. And again, if you don't have, well, you've got a finger, I'm sure of it. But if you want to experiment and try something else, I've got other tricks for you. Again, add whatever details you want. I'm noticing that the ketchup and mustard are taking a long time to dry. So when I was adding my marker detail, it wasn't showing up exactly like I wanted when I was trying to do some overlapping. So I have to wait a little bit on some of the details. All right, here comes another one. This one's cute. I'm going to stick with the ketchup and mustard on this one, but I suppose you could use paint for this next technique too. I'm putting a pretty thick blobs, and I've put it all, it looks almost like a north, east, west, south. That was a weird order. Anyway, now I've grabbed a fork. A fork? Yeah, I thought I could push the paint, paint, it's ketchup. I thought I could push the color out and get that fuzzy texture, almost like the straw was giving us earlier when we were blowing the paint. And it's working kind of. It's super fun. I might try this again with some other materials. And I did notice, though, it's harder to spread with the fork than it is to spread with like my finger or the paintbrush. So scooping it up and kind of moving it around, adding some more. That was my only kind of complicated part of this one until this next part. So, you're going to do some of these little random fuzzy creatures, and all of a sudden you're going to notice that they start looking like something. A lot of them to me have been looking like birds, but this one looks like something different. So here's where I ran into the problem where the ketchup and mustard were taking a long time to dry, so I couldn't draw the details like I wanted immediately. I had to wait because when my marker touched the ketchup, it didn't stay black. Are you anybody guessing what I'm making right now? Oh, it's so cute. I still have to add the ears on there. The ears and some whiskers and maybe even some teeth. Anyway, it's a ketchup mustard lion. How random is that? All right, have fun, you guys. Experiment. Don't forget to ask permission if you're using something weird, and clean up your mess when you're done. I miss you all so much. Email your pictures if you make something cool. Actually, email your pictures even if it's a disaster. I still want to see it. All right, take care. Stay healthy.